Key midterm races are taking shape this morning. In New York, for example, Congressman Lee Zeldin just won the Republican nomination, doubling just about his second challenger, Andrew Giuliani. He'll face incumbent Democrat Kathy Hochul, an extremely weak candidate in a very Democratic state, who is running for her first full term after taking over for very disgraced Governor Cuomo. In Illinois, Trump-backed farmer Darren Bailey clinched the GOP nomination for the governor. We'll get into that after Democrat Governor J.B. Pritzker spent $30 million to prevent a more moderate Republican from winning the race. Here to react is RNC Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel. Ronna, I'll bring you to that last statement. Have you ever seen this before to this level, the financing of people or candidates that might be more favorable in the general for the Democrat?
I haven't seen this. This is coming from, the big Democrat donors to try and prevent the more electable Republican candidate from getting through, although they failed. They spent a lot of money in Colorado to get rid of Jim O'Dea. He did win the Senate nomination, which is going to make that a competitive race against Bennett in Colorado. So it's a waste of money in my mind.
Did it work with Darren Bailey, though?
Yeah, in Illinois, it looks like it might have worked. With Pritzker, I would say I wouldn't have looked at Illinois as a huge battleground anyway with the amount of money Pritzker has. He just has unlimited funds to funnel into his gubernatorial race, which is too bad for the people of Illinois because they've got record crime levels and lots of problems in that state.
So, but also Trump backed Darren Bailey, so that also helps a lot, as you know, more than anybody. The other big story is what happened with Roe v. Wade. Have you seen any early polling that shows how that might challenge you more than before Roe v. Wade was overturned?
We'll be looking at recent polling, but I'll say this, Brian, it was leaked in April, remember? So this is a little baked in, and we have seen no movement in the polling once this was leaked. So I think a lot of voters had seen this. They expected Roe v. Wade to be overturned, and it did not change the numbers at all.
All right, so let's take a look at something else that was pretty fascinating that emerged. I believe it was AP that revealed that more than 1 million voters went out of their way, because most people don't, even if they're going to vote a different way, to switch parties from Democrat to Republican, and most of those in the suburbs where President Trump was shedding voters last time around. What does your micro polling show you the reason is why?
Well, we're seeing it everywhere. We've been outpacing Dems 4-1 in Pennsylvania, in North Carolina 3-1. Florida, we just overtook the Democrats for the first time in history with more Republicans registered. Obviously, the RNC's invested a lot in this, so we've been monitoring this. It's common sense issues. Parents should have a say in their kids' education. We should be energy independent. We should have a secure border. Crime is a big issue. All of these things are moving voters to the Republican Party as they're watching the Democrats become more and more extreme.
By the way, we should say 630,000 switched to Democrat from Republican, but was far outstripped by the million plus that you guys have gotten. When you look at these races, a lot of focus is going to be on Georgia. Herschel Walker dead even or slightly up in Georgia. You look at Maggie Hassan, quite vulnerable in New Hampshire. Republicans seem to be worried about it's always a tough race in Wisconsin. Tell me about what does your back room look like? Where are you most concerned? Where are you most optimistic of flipping?
Well, we know Ron Johnson's a must-hold. That's the #1 target for Democrats. But we've had some big wins in areas like Kenosha and Waukesha with school board and county commission races, which is good for Republicans heading into November. And again, it's an August primary for the Democrats with a competitive race for the Democrat nomination. Herschel's running even with Raphael Warnock. That is really good. He hasn't been up on the air. He just came out of a primary. We need to win Georgia. New Hampshire, again, all three of the candidates, the three top-tier candidates, are polling within the margin of error with Maggie Hassan. It's a September primary, which I don't love, but we feel good about New Hampshire. Also Nevada, Adam Laxalt's doing incredibly well against Cortez Masto. So there's opportunities for pickups. We've got to hold those retiring Republican senator seats in Pennsylvania and North Carolina.
All right, and we'll talk about that, and then the role January 6th may or may not be playing in the midterms, but only a much smaller percentage than originally thought are paying attention, it seems, on the right. Ronna, thanks so much. I know that every Tuesday is extremely busy, so thanks for joining us on this Wednesday.
Thanks for having me, Brian.